We are in the piano room at Hay Farm for another session of Meet the Team with Emily Foord, therapist here at Promis. Hi Emily.
Hello.
So Emily, can you tell me a little bit about your journey from beginning work here at Promis to becoming a therapist?
Yeah, so it started, I was at Goldsmiths University in London and I was doing my psychology undergraduate degree, and funnily enough, my family actually moved just down the road here. In my third year, I majored in addictive behaviours, so I was really interested in that already. So I tried to, it took me quite a while to find it because it's quite hidden out of the way, but yeah, I managed to find it, and then I emailed Robin and just let him know that I was just about to finish my degree and interested in this area of work. So then once I'd finished the degree, so that was in July 2017, yeah, I came along here and I got to see, you know, all the different sort of therapies that are done here. It was just sort of a different world really, because obviously with the degree it's a lot of statistics and research and very little, I hadn't had an awful lot of experience in actually seeing people day to day dealing with mental health issues and addiction and things like that, especially addiction. I hadn't been around it as much as I had mental health issues. So yeah, it was quite, I was sort of amazed that I got to come here really. And then, yeah, so I did that for a few months. So then I ended up going on holiday for a month. And then when I came back, they offered me a full-time position as a healthcare assistant and a trainee therapist. So then it was a bit more, it was full-time, 5 days a week. And yeah, it was a lot of, at that point, it was a lot of observing groups and things like that. I started running planning group and just generally having a bit more interaction with the clients and just gradually having more responsibilities here. It was a lot of like practical things to begin with, but yeah, eventually sort of starting to contribute with groups and things like that. Yeah, so I do kind of feel like I learned more in a year here than I did in any of my education really, because I suppose there's only so much you can learn from statistics versus, you know, real life.
And it's just really interesting to hear your journey at Promis, to start here as a volunteer, then a support worker, then a therapist, and getting to live with some of our patients in sober living gives you a unique insight into the inner workings of Promis. Yeah,
definitely. And it's a whole, I suppose it's like a whole culture here. I mean, I feel like I've learned so much from being here and so much about myself as well, because I suppose it was quite strange coming into the team as someone who didn't, you know, identify as an addict, and there's a lot of the team are addicts in recovery. And at first I thought, how am I going to kind of manage that, because surely there's a lot that I'm not going to be able to understand, having not gone through those similar experiences. And then I did the shorter Promis questionnaire and I thought, oh shit. I just thought, okay, maybe there's some stuff. So and that's been part of my journey as well, I suppose, is that more and more I see just every day, like to some degree, in my experience, most people want to change the way that they feel in one way or another. And I guess it's been one of the biggest things I'm still trying to learn is how addiction actually works in terms of, is it a continuum? Because it feels to me as though it's like on a range from like normal behaviour to really extremely unhealthy behaviour that's destructive, and trying to figure out where in that scale you come to a point of like no return, and how much of it is that actually most people engage in some behaviour to some extent that's not necessarily healthy. So even like watching Netflix or you know, binge watching TV shows or eating ice cream or whatever it might be, can reach a point that's unhealthy. So for me, part of the journey's been like trying to figure out some of my own behaviours. Do I want to, you know, would I label myself as an addict? Because there's definitely stuff around like overeating, and I didn't know what compulsive helping was before I came to Promis, and that was quite a shock because I just thought I was a really helpful person. And actually no, it was a lot about me trying to manage my own feelings and thinking that I could kind of save and rescue people, and it was me trying to feel kind of secure in myself and validate myself to know that I was kind of worthy. So that was a huge learning curve. So yeah, I guess I'm still kind of on that journey of trying to figure out, you know, some of my own behaviours and whether at what point behaviours come to be addiction. One of the things that I find most enjoyable actually is the person-centered aspect of it, because it's not like you, I mean, my experience with getting help for mental health has been primarily through the NHS and doing, you know, 6 sessions of CBT, and it feels like it kind of, to some degree, it kind of boxes people in a little bit. Like there's not much room for flexibility in terms of what support you can get, whereas here it's that kind of, before they've even come in to the centre, there's already an assessment there and some suggestions of what would be best for them as an individual, rather than this is the process that we have, and so everyone will go through that process. And I know just from the one-to-one sessions that I do with people, I do try my best to kind of figure out what approach is going to be best for them.
Brilliant. Emily, thank you so much for your time and coming to talk to us today. It's been really lovely hearing about your journey.
Yeah, thank you.
From volunteer to therapist at Promis.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.